Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning to the LL3 podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting live from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Tuesday, February 18th, 2020. It's like a last-minute thing I had. And right now I'm at the Florida Main Library in downtown Fort Lauderdale, located at I think it's 100 South Andrews Avenue in the heart of Fort Lauderdale. And it's mainly about federal courthouse site selection, public meeting. And the whole purpose is, in 2019, Project Background in Congress appropriated funding for design and construction of a new 255,000 gross square foot federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The existing federal building and U.S. courthouse constructed in 1979 does not meet the United States Court Design Guide standards and lack adequate security to meet standards for facility security level 4 as defined by the Interagency Security Committee. The existing building configuration does not allow for distinct separation between restricted, secured, and public areas, meeting the 10-year space needs of the judiciary. The new courthouse will include 12 courtrooms and judges' chambers. Once built, the facility will provide workspace for several tenant agencies, including the U.S. Court of Appeals, the U.S. District Court of Southern District of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, the U.S. Marshal Service, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the U.S. Probation Office. It's interesting because on here, I'll just do a little brief about public project descriptions. And one of the plans you want to do will be within the downtown regional activity. And it's getting ready to start. There's some controversies on about this. Even the Flagler Village has a thing called Save Our Parks. So let's find out what they have to say.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Audrey Entor. I'm the Regional Historic Preservation and Fine Arts Officer from the United States General Services Administration. I'd first of all like to say thank you to the staff of Broward County Main Library for providing this facility for our meeting tonight, and thank you for attending. The public meeting tonight is to obtain your comments on the proposed United States Courthouse project in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. If you're able to arrive earlier tonight, I hope you're able to pick up the handouts, sign up to speak, and view posters showing the sites under consideration. If you did not indicate you wanted to speak, you can still do so. You'll need to see our environmental contractor, Denise. Raise your hand. She's over there by the door. GSA staff will make a short presentation about the project, which will be followed by an open session for us to listen to your comments and hear your questions. The questions will be addressed in the environmental assessment. The purpose of the public scoping meeting is an early and open mechanism for developing the range of issues to be addressed in the environmental assessment in Section 106 process of the National Historic Preservation Act. It allows the public to help define, prioritize, and convey stakeholder and community issues to the agency through oral and written comments. A critical element of the scoping process is this public meeting during which comments and concerns are officially documented. So we're having a transcript created which will be part of the draft environmental assessment. We're excited to provide information about the courthouse and have an opportunity for your input. Your comments will help us understand your concerns, and you can sign up to speak tonight.
I'll just be observing, so.
Comments should be sent to Ash Desai, Environmental Manager, on or before March 18th, 2020. His contact information was provided on the letters distributed January 23rd, is on this slide, and was also included on the project handouts. Our goal is to provide you background information and context about why we're here. I'd like to start with a little background on GSA. President Harry S. Truman created GSA in 1949 to provide centralized procurement of products, services, and facilities that federal agencies need to serve the public. The clients of GSA include most civilian agencies of the executive branch, some military agencies, and the judicial branch. Today, GSA nationally owns and leases over 370 million square feet of workspace in more than 8,600 buildings nationwide. GSA manages a real estate portfolio of government-owned and leased buildings, providing workspace to more than 1 million federal civilian workers. Over half of the government-owned buildings are 50 years old or older, and more than 480 are listed or eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. In addition to existing owned and leased buildings, GSA also constructs new government buildings, including U.S. courthouses. We have several members of the GSA project team here, including our speakers today. Ishmael Santana, Project Manager, Ash Desai, Environmental Program Manager, Neil Landers, National Site Acquisition Program Manager. If the other people from GSA would just raise their hand and let us know where you are. In addition to GSA staff, also in attendance is Denise McCoy with Ramble Group, the environmental consultants preparing the environmental assessment. We'll now focus on the Fort Lauderdale project, and Ishmael Santana will describe the courthouse program, schedule, and current status.
Thank you all for that great introduction. Good evening, and thank you for joining us here tonight. My name is Ishmael Santana, and I'll be talking a little bit about the program of this project. So, this is a new courthouse that is going to meet not only the current needs, but the long-term needs of the federal courthouse here in Fort Lauderdale. This courthouse is going to include 12 courtrooms and 17 chambers. It's going to be around 255,000 gross square feet, which is going to include 50 secure parking spaces. And I just want to make a little bit of emphasis on this. It's going to be secure spaces for the tenant users. They're not going to be public parking spaces.
Sound like
The
peasants.
site selection, we expect this to be completed around 2020. Design should start around 2020 as well. The site acquisition process should be completed by 2021, and the construction should start around 2022. Some of the tenant agencies that will be occupying this building include the U.S. District Court, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, U.S. Court of Appeals, U.S. Department of Justice, Marshals Service, Probation, Federal Public Defender, U.S. Attorney, and the General Service Administration. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Neil Landers, and again, thank you for coming here tonight.
Good evening. My name is Neil Landers. I'm GSA's National Site Selection and Acquisition Program Manager. And what you're looking at right there is the process of site selection all the way through acquisition. What's important for this meeting is where we're at right now. And if you look at the third from the bottom, it says shortlist due diligence. That is where we're at. We have done the steps above it already and are down to that one. Hence the meeting that we have tonight. Then after that, we will identify a preferred site or sites, and then we will seek to acquire that site. Those are the three that we're looking at right now, and it's brought to my attention that the second one that says 633 South Federal Highway, it's kind of a misnomer because that's actually a multi-story building that's part of the overall site, but that building and its associated parking are not being considered. It's the sites that are just next to it by the same ownership. I labeled it 633 just for ease, so if that caused any confusion, I apologize on that. Those are the three sites that we're currently looking at that are on the short list. And there is an aerial that depicts those sites. And with that, I will turn it over to Ash, the regional environmental officer.
Would you like to really describe what you meant by the 633 location?
I'm sorry?
The 633 location, so if you're at the corner of Federal and 7th, if you're at the southwest corner, it's not, there's a parking lot right there.
There is a parking lot that's in front of the building.
So it's a contract share building,
is that multi-story building that's currently there is not the site that we are looking at.
We go back to that.
Sure, absolutely.
There's a parking lot and then there's Conrad Shearsburg to the south of that, right? So which building are you talking about?
This,
There's no building.
I'm sorry, no, the Shearer building, the multi-story building, I forget what's on, I think Shearer's name's on it, something. That building, as well as that parking.
So more congested on the federal, on US 1, as far as I'm concerned.
What is being considered?
Okay, the property that's beside it, going away from federal highway, that is, that you see there in red,
Behind it, west side.
west of.
So it's not really the point, it's not that.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
It's not that corner, that's correct. That's an important distinction, and I want to make sure that that's clear. That it's not the improved building and or the parking lot, it's to the west.
So the entrance would be on Third, not 7th or 7th.
No, that's not correct.
6th and 3rd.
Yeah, that is correct. Are we good on that?
Sounds like dissatisfaction to me, folks.
Does everyone understand that distinction? Okay, we all good? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
For you guys, it's got to laugh.
Thanks, Neil. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ash Desai. I'm the Regional Environment Manager for GSA Region 4. So we are located in Atlanta, Georgia. We cover 8 southeastern states. We own several federal buildings, and we also lease several buildings for our client agencies. So I am responsible for implementing the NEPA requirements for National Environmental Policy Act. So I implement the NEPA requirements for all those buildings. If any kind of an action happens, so I have to make sure it complies with the NEPA requirements. So NEPA is National Environmental Policy Act, which became effective in 1969 and became codified under 40 CFR 1500 through 1508. So NEPA actually applies only to federal agencies. It doesn't apply to private companies or private commercial activities. So anytime federal agencies take any major federal action, we have to make sure that we take a hard look at the environment. We have to make sure that we have to consider the impacts on the environment. So we have to look at all the environmental factors and we try to protect the environment. So that's the main purpose of the NEPA, is to take a hard look at the proposed action and see what are the impacts associated with the proposed action. So this is actually a decision-making tool and a planning tool also, because we can make an informed decision about the project itself. So in case if we need to know what are the issues associated with the site, so we can prepare ourselves, we can plan ourselves. It also helps us minimize the impact on the environment, so it helps us make a better decision on which site we want to select. So that's actually a good decision-making tool. It's also a planning tool for our proposed action. So I'm going to talk about the NEPA process and how we can apply the NEPA process to this project. So as I mentioned that NEPA looks at various environmental factors and the impacts associated with the environmental factors for all 3 sites because of the proposed action. So all the analysis actually goes into the document called environmental assessment document. So a consultant will do the analysis of the environmental impacts and will develop the document called environmental assessment document. So this document will include the purpose and need, like what is the justification, why are we building a courthouse in the first place, and if so that actually makes a proposed action that we want to build a courthouse. So that becomes a proposed action. And then what are the alternatives we are considering? So we have to look at the alternatives, where we are building the courthouse, what are the sites, and the effect on the sites and all that stuff. So all these things we discuss in the environmental assessment document. We look at environmental factors, what factors we are including in the document, and what kind of impacts, like for example, impact on cultural resources, impact on traffic, or impact on communities and all that stuff. So you're looking at all those impacts in the document. And so, as you can see that where we are right now is the public scoping meeting. So NEPA also requires agencies to obtain the feedback or obtain the input from the public. So that's why we are here right now at the public scoping meeting. So once the proposed action is identified and once the shortlisted sites alternative is identified, then we have to go back to the public and get an input, get the feedback from the public. So that is part of the NEPA requirement. So once we get your input and once we get the analysis done from the consultant on the environmental factors, impact analysis, and then they will develop the environmental assessment document. So that draft EA document will be made available to public to provide any comments. So once it will go through the internal review process and goes through our legal review process, then it will be made available to public to provide any comments on the draft EA. So you will have 30 days again to provide any comments on what kind of analysis we have done on the project. So once if no significant comments are received from public, then we wrap up the NEPA process with the thing called finding of no significant impact. So that's basically the NEPA process. That's the NEPA process that we follow. So things that we covered in the EA, like for example, cultural resources. These are the environmental factors that will be looked into the EA document. Transportation, parking, for example. So we will be looking at the impact on the floodplain, impact on wetland, impact on surrounding community, impact on city's master plan. So all those things will be looked into the document, will be analyzed, and it will be part of the document. So these are the factors we'll be looking at. Some of the factors. So as you know, the alternatives considered in the EA, the alternative 1 is 301 North Andrews Avenue, alternative 2 is 633 South Federal Highway, and alternative 3, 477 Southwest 1st Avenue. So these three sites will be studied in the EA. So all the impacts will be associated with these three sites. I'm sure you must have seen the posters out there. So if you haven't seen the poster, please look at the poster and find out where the sites are, and please provide your input. I also wanted to talk about the floodplain. As you can see, the yellow highlighted area is the delineated area. Yellow highlighted delineated area, and you can see the three sites marked by the red boundary. So those are the three sites within the delineated area, and you can see that the blue lines, the blue represents the 100-year floodplain. That means 1% annual chance of flooding, and the brown represents 500-year floodplain. That means 0.2% annual chance of flooding. So you can see that the entire delineated area is in the 100-year floodplain or 500-year floodplain, and therefore all three sites are also in the 100-year floodplain or 500-year floodplain. The reason why I wanted to show that slide because the construction of the courthouse is considered a critical action. That means the slightest chance of flooding would create a big damage, would impair the function of the courthouse because of the records that they maintain. So therefore, the FEMA requires that the agency should try to avoid as much as possible building a courthouse either in a 100-year floodplain or a 500-year floodplain. But you can see that all three sites are in a 100-year floodplain or 500-year floodplain. Therefore, there is no practical alternative available. The only reason FEMA would allow you to build in a 100-year floodplain or 500-year floodplain unless there is no practical alternative available. So, but in this case, all sites are in the floodplain. So, GSA will develop a document called the determination of no practical alternative. Additionally, we will take mitigation measures. We will go through the design process, and at the time of design process, we want to make sure that we protect the structure. We want to make sure that we minimize the interruption of the continuity of operation. So we will minimize interruption of the critical function. So we are going to, during the time of design process, we will take a look at all the measures and we will consider raising elevation, we will consider installing flood barriers. So all these measures will be considered during the time of design process to make sure that we protect the structure as much as possible, to make sure that we minimize the interruption of the operation, ensure continuity of the operation. So we will consider all these operations during the design process. This is also required by the FEMA regulations. So where are we right
Trying to
now?
sell you a
Right
product.
now we are collecting environmental
Sounds like a
data,
lemon
like
to
I
me.
mentioned before, that we'll be looking at the cultural resources impact. We're also looking at security assessment, impact to security assessment. We're also doing a phase 1 site assessment right now. So we're looking at the impact and the contamination, any contamination, potential of contamination of the properties. So we'll be looking at all those things. We'll be looking at the parking, we'll be looking at the community, impact on the surrounding community, looking at the city's master plan, impact on the city's master plan. So we will look at all these factors and for all these 3 sites because of the proposed action. So that's the data they're collecting right now, our consultant. So once they collect all the data, then they will develop the annual assessment document, and we will publish the notice of availability of the EA in the local newspaper and to all the stakeholders. So if you would like to receive a copy of the EA, please sign up at the front desk to make sure that you put your email address clearly, so we can send you a copy of the EA, so you can see what we are doing with the project. So that's what we plan to do. So next I would like to turn it over to Audrey, so she can get any feedback and input from you. Thank you.
Sounds like a very under-enthusiastic audience.
There's a microphone down front, and so we would like to have anyone who's going to ask a question to come down front, state your name and any affiliation that you have. I've got a list of people who signed up, and I'm not sure how many we have, but that last count was 16, and I've got a few more. So we don't run out of time. It would be really helpful if everyone kept their comments to 5 minutes or less, to try to be succinct if at all possible. I'm going to call up 2 people at a time so we can have somebody in the queue, because it may take you a few minutes to get down here. And if you know you signed up to speak, you might want to edge over to an aisle, I guess, too. They're not in any particular order. So the first person I only have a first name. It's Dylan. Last name is L. And if you could come over to the mic. And then the next person I have is Leanne Kubo, Liannerubo. Go ahead.
Thank you all very much. My name is Dylan Legai. I'm a past president of the Flagler Village Civic Association. The #1 site that was listed is in the neighborhood of Flagler Village. And we have some church here called our next park. This is not something that just came up today. It's about a 7-year process, and even before that, there is a downtown master plan. I think you mentioned the master plan that calls for this particular site to be recognized and dedicated as parkland. So our neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods that are very in unison for that effort to continue. We have several commissioners that have been working with us on this. So I just want to simply state for the record, as one of the members that helped to contribute to this campaign of Our Next Park, that we're still in very, very big unison and unified effort to go for that and continue that effort. So I want to make sure we state that for the record to you all as you're gathering this. And we're very much cognizant that a new federal courthouse is needed. We just have a very strong position that it's not going to be there. Thank you. The address is 301 North Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33301. It was the #1 listing in your slideshow. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Lauderdale by the River Homeowners Association. I'm also a member of the Fort Lauderdale Downtown Civic Association. We welcome the GSA, and we're very happy to have you here and to listen to our concerns. Las Olas by the River is a condo association of 240 units, and we're considered a residential area. We are opposed to the building, obviously, on US 1, which is adjacent to us because of the traffic and sewer. Obviously, everyone knows about the sewer issues that are going on here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Parking and traffic would be an issue. If you actually looked at the site map and looked at that area behind US 1, there's an egress of 6th Avenue, which you can't reach if you're coming heading north on US 1. You have to actually do a loop around, which is a small little egress or a back alley. It doesn't really allow for the flow of traffic. That's number one. Number two, the residential area is already pretty overwhelmed, and structurally we have an issue with infrastructure. We're split. Our building actually is 3 little buildings. We're on 3 different grids, and we've complained to FPL about that numerous times. Anytime there's an issue or a storm, we lose power. So that's a big concern for us. And of course, that light on 7th Street is not long enough. That actual turning lane is not long enough to hold the traffic. Looking at the proposed site plan, the residents of Las Olas by the River would feel better about having the courthouse on the north side of the river, already by a proposed parking garage that is already there, so you don't have to build another one. You're on the other side. And lastly, the homeowners association would be hit with additional costs incurred by having a federal courthouse. I don't know if many of you are aware, but if you're less than 2 blocks from the federal courthouse, all of the homeowners must carry a terrorism policy in addition to their homeowners policy, which is a substantial amount to add to their current HOA fees. Thank you so much for your attention.
It violates property rights too. But good.
Okay, the next 2 speakers, and I'm going to apologize in advance for murdering anyone's name. I have Mary Fertiga, Fertia, and Michael, and I can't read this last name, I'm sorry. It looks like Madfis. Okay. Good evening, Mary Fertig. First, I want to thank you for considering this project, and it's going to be a wonderful addition to our community. And next, I want to ask that you build it on the south side of the river. I belong to a group called Lauderdale Tomorrow. We have been advocating for a number of years, not as long as Lauderdale Village. But when they created the downtown master plan, they created that site on North Andrews, the number 1 site that you showed. They created that and specified that it would be a park, and they have listed it in the downtown master plan until this day as a park. So for many of us, we have come before the city and asked them to actually fulfill that promise and build that park. It was disturbing to hear that you might put something there other than a park. So I would ask you, I think it's more appropriate anyways to consider the south side of the river. You have the county courthouse there, you have the school board building, you have a number of other buildings there that would, that I feel like your federal courthouse would fit in better with. I understand the concerns of the speaker before me, so perhaps there's another site that's not in that area, but I think that when you're in a downtown area like this, any site, any of those 3 sites you pick could have that concern for homeowners. But there are very few sites that could become the park that we hope One Stop Shop will. So I hope that you build on another site. Thank you. Michelle, and I'm going to spell the last name, N-U-N-U-A-T-A. And the next person is Doug McGraw. Sorry, I thought you were speaking. My name's is Michelle Manziata. I am the president of the Flagler Village Civic Association, which, as one of the previous speakers told, the site at the 301 North Andrews Avenue is located in Flagler Village. As you've heard from other people, we are asking that you do not consider this site. You've heard the story. We have been told for many, many years now, 7+ years, that this was going to be given to us as a park, and we strongly need a park. In your NEPA talk about environmental issues, a park is desperately needed in our area. We do not have a park. We have one park, we have one small park. A park has many benefits: environmental impacts, emotional health, clean air, and we desperately need a park. We will not be able to get another site of this magnitude in our area available ever again. So if we lose this, we lose it. We don't have a shot at getting a park, and we desperately need a park for environmental reasons, emotional reasons, for our health, for our mental health, and other reasons. Most of these other oppositions on the other sites can be mitigated. Traffic can be rerouted. There can be sewers can be fixed. You can't get another 3-acre site and give us a park. Once it's gone, it's gone. So the other sites, I feel, are more vital, and we feel as a neighborhood. We have the support of our commissioner, which I believe emails will be going to you, correct? We will be forwarding you the downtown master plan that shows it as a park. We'll be forwarding you our letters of support. We have our letters from our commissioner who manages our district as well. We'll be sending you all of our information to back up and support our argument as well. And you get a free t-shirt. Thank you. But thank you for hearing us. And we just, like I said, environmentally, you can't get that land back once it's gone. And this is our only chance of getting that to be given us as a park. So thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Doug McCry with the Fat Village Arts District, which is just to the north of the site on Andrews Avenue. And I would like to say that I've been a member of this community for a long time, and that plan to make that site a park actually started about 18 or 19 years ago. So the size of that site is very important in terms of green space for downtown, because green space is very underserved as far as park space is concerned. While we're very excited to have the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, we feel like this site is critically important for our urban use. So, thank you.
Okay, I'm Jenny Morgan with DVA. And the next person I have is Janet Scraper, and it's got a question mark. Does Janet wish to speak? Okay. Do we have next?
Good afternoon, Jenny Morgan with the Downtown Development Authority. I will not be necessarily speaking on any of the 3 sites other than to use this public meeting to express really to a lot of attendees here that our agency has helped for probably the past 10 years get this project off the ground. And really where we will continue to advocate is that a new federal courthouse will be built in or close to the urban core in the county seat of Broward County. It's taken us quite some time to get this far, to get the Congress to appropriate the funding, and we recognize that there will be challenges in locating a new federal courthouse in downtown. But the work that we've done over the past many years, and we believe that working with all of our stakeholders in downtown to make sure that a site can be selected for this very important civic use for the future of downtown is important. And we're pleased that we're at this point in that very complicated flow chart, but we still have some work to do, and we'll continue to be that conduit with all of our partner agencies, the city, the county, private and public landowners to really push this forward. So we look forward to working with everyone here to move this forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janet Scraper. I'm in the Tarpon River Civic Association, past president, and still on the board. our neighborhood is the location of number 3477 Southwest First Avenue. I guess I've been living under a rock because I just found out about this the other day, and I'm just shocked that this site would be considered at all. If you're familiar with this area, first of all, it's already been approved for high-rises all in that area, but this is not an area that has good traffic flow. It's cut off by the railroad track and two drawbridges, and it was a previously light industrial area with very tiny streets and a lot of traffic cutting over to the Broward, complex over there on the other side of Andrew. That said, I'm not really, I totally am sympathetic to the one-stop shop. They have been working very hard for a very, very long time, close to a decade, to make that a park. However, I'll have to say that I think it's important that this facility be near a transportation hub, and with the train and the bus station and the opportunity to expand our transportation to that hub, I think that area just makes the most sense accessibility-wise for everybody. And I know I'm sorry, but that one is the one that has the best accessibility. I have to agree that I think the one on South Federal is a complicated access thing as well, but not as bad as the one west of there. And I don't know. I don't think any of these sites are particularly great for us as a city.
Refurbish the other one.
Is extremely awful and should not be considered at all.
Hear, hear.
The next two speakers, Joanne Smith and Celia, is it Gileson?
Well, I can't argue with that one. It should just be at the same location, refurbish the damn facility, no ends, ifs, or buts.
Hi, I'm Joanne Smith, and I have the honor of being the president of the Fort Lauderdale Women's Club, which is a great honor to be in our first park of the city, Stranahan Park. So, as you see, we are park people, and we started that park 100 some years ago because we know the community needs a space to congregate, needs a place to meet, needs a place to be. And we have really been counting on that park at 301 Northwest Andrews Avenue. So we really understand that the other sites are bad too, but this is the last green space at downtown that is really built with not a lot of land, not a lot of trees, and we need the space. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Celia Gislason. I'm the District Outreach Coordinator for Commissioner Stephen Glossman, District 2, for the City of Fort Lauderdale. And he unfortunately couldn't make it tonight because they have a City Commission meeting, but I'm here on his behalf, and I have a written statement that I've actually already emailed to you earlier, but I'll say it again. So, he said, the former one-stop shop located at 301 North Andrews Avenue has been part of our downtown master plan since 2003 as a designated open green public space. And since May of 2018, I advocated from the Fort Lauderdale City Commission dais to take the first step and demolish the buildings at the site to begin the process to activate this vital space in partnership with the very dense Flagler Village neighborhood. On February 5th, 2019, the Commission agreed to fund $150,000 for the demolition, clearing, sod, and fencing to move forward with our initiative of creating a public green space, and is expected to be completed soon. And on Wednesday, January 29th, I had a phone interview with representatives from the U.S. General Services Administration and expressed my opposition to the 301 North Andrews Avenue location as a potential new federal courthouse site, and continue to advocate for the location of the new federal courthouse be located south of the New River and not at the 301 North Andrews Avenue location. Sincerely, Commissioner Stephen Glossman.
Well, I have to disagree with Glassman on that one too. It should be at the same location, no exceptions.
here is Jim Ellis.
Good evening, my name is Marvin Shulowitz. I'm a resident at 520 Southeast Fifth Avenue, and I'm a member of the Downtown Civic Association. As a resident, I happen to know firsthand of the area that you have outlined for 633 South Federal Highway. I would just like to point out to you that this north and south boundary of this proposed site, Southeast 7th Street and 6th Street. 7th Street is a two-lane road, goes in both directions. There is a red light at the South Federal Highway exit, and there's a stop sign at the other. I'm not sure if there's a red light there. But it's a two-lane road surrounded by single-family homes. I don't know if they're homes or businesses, but all one-story buildings. The 6th Avenue Street is also a two-lane road. However, the lane going east is a right turn only onto South Federal Highway. Merges onto South Federal Highway. So anybody exiting from that area must merge onto ongoing traffic southbound on South Federal Highway, which during peak hours, you can imagine, is not going to move. Similarly, with the light at 7th Street and South Federal Highway, because of its current circumstance, it is a quick left turn or right turn lane, with priority being given to north-south traffic on South Federal. So there's no egress. The north-south street, which is 5th Court and 5th Avenue, are essentially one-lane roads. There are no lights on them now. They're two-direction traffic, north-south, but they're basically wide enough for one car because there's no traffic there currently. Two cars can't pass, but very slowly and carefully. If you're going to build a site there, like a courthouse, it's only going to have 50 parking spaces for 17 judges and their support staff. Those parking spaces are going to be used 100% by the judicial staff and their assistants. Anybody else coming to that courthouse, the attorneys, the litigants, the jurors, where are they going to go? There is a parking lot across on the other side of 6th, which is currently being used by the Broward County Courthouse, which is used for their juror parking, which again, we're now going to add this courthouse parking onto basically a one-lane road, entering and exiting that one parking garage that's already being used by another courthouse. And there are 3 apartment complexes that share that same road with no other option than using that street to get out of their complex onto 6th. The result is, one other thing, as a federal courthouse, you have to have room for, when you have a high-profile situation, press. They park their vans in front of the courthouse, and they're interviewing everybody. Given this space, there is no space whatsoever to put those vans. You're going to block traffic. There's no place on 5th Court, there's no place on 5th Avenue, and there's no place on 7th or 6th. Where are you going to put them? From a feasibility standpoint, it doesn't really work well. No traffic. Unfortunately, for those people that live north of the river, the proposed site on North Andrews Avenue is just a few blocks north on Andrews of the courthouse, which is currently on 3rd. There is the existing public parking space north of the federal courthouse, which would then be south of the new proposed federal courthouse. Andrews being a major avenue, you will be surrounded by all the space that you need for all of, shall we say, the sequela that comes from having a federal courthouse. You will have a place for the traffic, you will have a place for the public vans, you will have a place for everybody to park out. And you will have your existing parking structure that you're currently using for your existing courthouse. So when you look at what the requirements are for the impact and for traffic, and the location on South Federal Highway does not meet any of the criteria other than that the land may be accessible or available to you. But for your purposes of your construction of the federal objectively, it's not gonna work. You can build a building, but no one can get in, or will be able to get in or out. Thank you so much.
In other words, it'd be a muck production if it was done.
Evening, my name is Jim Ellis, and to be upfront, I have a piece of one of the parcels that is listed on there, the 477 Southwest First Avenue. I'm not here advocating on that behalf. I currently serve on the DDA past chair. I currently serve on Riverwalk past chair, and also I'm currently president of the Flagler Village Improvement Association, which is business owners that about 20 years ago we formed to figure out what best and how we could develop Flagler Village. About, say, 17, 18 years ago, when the city first vacated the 301 North Avenue property known as the One Stop Shop, the Flagler Village Improvement Association, working with the city's master plan that showed that that property would become a park, we went and offered the city the ability to take the building down and start the process of making it a park. And currently, the city manager at that time, George Gretzis, didn't want to let his, what he thought, $15 million asset go. So we weren't successful in the effort at that time. Then somewhere around 7 years ago, before I was on the Downtown Development Authority, city manager at the time was interested in swapping the property with the FECI. They eventually did swap a 2-acre site that's just south of that, but when that whole process was going on, it was actually on it was listed to be on the city agenda, and we went to the Flagler Village Improvement Association, and I went through the Downtown Development Authority to request that the Downtown Development Authority look at this property and ask the city to officially take it off the agenda, which they did, fortunately. And so, you know, the community of the Flagler Village Civic Association, Improvement Association, we're almost always on the same page. You know, we're very much in need of park space in that area. We have thousands of units that are coming online. We have thousands more that are approved. And so there really is no other option for park space. And the city doesn't have the money, or really there's not land available that you could assemble to get anywhere near that type of park space that is necessary and needed in the Flagler Village area. And I'm assuming you guys know that because you're out looking and seeing what you can assemble. You know, I've also served as a past president of First State Park for about 8 years. I'm a parks guy, and we're in desperate need of park in that community. So I would ask that you would, if not consider south of the river, but also possibly expand your search but to keep it in the downtown core and to keep it preferably close to the federal courthouses. And as far as, you know, some of the other comments made earlier, as far as accessibility and traffic and all that kind of stuff, the properties that you are looking at are properties that are in the what is called the Regional Activity Center, City Center, which is the least restricted on height, parking requirements, what the uses are and stuff like that. The federal courthouse is going to produce a lot less traffic than most probably what is going to happen on those properties given their zoning and the ability to basically have no height limits, residential limits, so on and so forth. So that, you know, should probably be considered too. Lastly, thank you guys for all your work, efforts. It's been a long process. You've been doing this for quite some time and with the DDA. I know it's not an easy process, you're not going to please everybody, but thank you for all your efforts as a community. We very much appreciate it, and we want the courthouse to remain downtown. Thank you.
The next two speakers, Patricia, P-A-T-H-L-L-O, and Larry, B-E-H-A-R.
Hi, my name is Patricia Turner, and I didn't know about the park, but I know how you guys 100%. But one of your representatives stated that the other two places are much better suited for this. I have to disagree. They mentioned that transportation was available and infrastructure, and I'm referring to the location at 633 South Federal Highway. Our entire neighborhood is destroyed right now with holes and sewage pipes running down the road. That particular location, it looks like it goes all the way to 7th Street. It is a 2-lane highway. It took me 3 lights to cross from Maria Vista across Federal to get on the other side of Federal Highway. There were cars in the middle of the road both ways because the traffic is so bad with the tunnel. There is that one way coming 6th, which means you have to come up and go around and make a U-turn. And again, someone said there's 50 spots for 250,000 square feet. There's no parking that's going to be sufficient for that in that area. So I think the park is a bad idea. It's something that's been promised, and Lord knows Fort Lauderdale needs more parks. The location is 633 just does not make sense. Infrastructure, parking, bus line, the 1-lane roads, the press coming in. What's going on with 477 Southwest First? I mean, it seems like you've got people who don't want to lose a park, which we desperately need. Is it a feasible location? So, you've got 3 locations and pretty good reasons why it doesn't seem to work at any of them. So, that's right. And the RAP zone on the south side of the river was expanded in 1969, and there's been a lot of issues because we've had massive development on the south side of the river, and the courthouse is not going to be a high-rise. But again, it's congestion with 50 parking spaces on 2-lane roads, with the traffic coming out of the tunnel, and the traffic on 7th, the traffic on 4th and 7th is unbelievable. So I would recommend grab yourself a beach chair, go at 7 in the morning, have a seat with your clicker, and see how impossible it would be to make that U-turn on 6th and Federal 7th, Federal 7th and 4th and 7th and 3rd. And I also want to stand behind them and say, we need green space, because all the cities I've lived in, there's so few green space here. So 2 very, very poor locations. I can't speak to the other one. That's all.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Larry Bay, Hartman, attorney in Fort Lauderdale. I've been practicing for 40 years, 2 blocks away from the 633 location, which is, of course, a misnomer, but I just wanted to clarify a few items, if you wouldn't mind. Your chart that you have, a very, very elaborate chart, seemed to pretend that you have done 3/4 of the research already on it, and you were basically on the last quarter of your review. And that to me seems a little bit inconsistent with the fact that you're still doing data collection, traffic surveys, feasibility studies, et cetera, and not only on one property, but on 3 properties. So I don't really know at what point you're at in terms of finalizing it. I was going to speak in favor of the 633 location when I first walked in, because of the fact that it's close to the airport, it's close to the, before the tunnel, it's close to the Davie Boulevard exit, et cetera. I'm former chair of the economic development here for our county, so I know a little bit about the community. And I also know that whole judicial campus idea was very, very prevalent in the eyes of people who have been working on the development of the south side of the river. The Broward County Courthouse is within a short walking distance from the proposed site of However, listening to my friends and neighbors at the Rio Vista neighborhood, I'm a little concerned at what point you all are at, if you take into consideration the traffic considerations, which I think you have, and also the inconsistencies in terms of the parking. If you look at the current federal courthouse on Broward Boulevard, which of course was a disaster in terms of design and functionality, this property I'm sure will be a much better effort, but I still am a little concerned about the parking ratios that you're going to have. A federal courthouse has its own requirements in terms of parking and occupancy. You have over 12 agencies that are going to be housed in that building. I don't know where the employees and the judges are going to be able to park. Not all of them are going to take mass transit if there is any. And I would ask you all to really take that into consideration as you move forward in your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Our next two speakers, Larry Hayward, and the next one is Art, and I'm having trouble with the last name. It looks like S-E something T-Z. Thanks.
Art Sykes, thanks for hosting us. I'm very much in favor of park, unlike you know. We need parks. Too often the city is giving away missed opportunities. You got too many high rises. Having said that, I hope you'll take the federal courthouse and stick it someplace south. 301 Henry's. Should have been a park 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We're just lucky that Feldman didn't give it away.
Yep, that was former city manager Feldman. If I'm correct, he's in Homestead right now, right?
Is Doug here? Doug Coleman?
Yes, my name is Doug Coleman. I wear a number of hats, but I'm really here to talk to you tonight from my professional end after 50 years being a land planner and landscape architect. And I'd like you to look at the land use around the three sites. Land use north of the river, as you heard, is right in the middle of a residential boom. It's been slated as a park. And it's probably more appropriate for, let's say it's less appropriate for federal courthouse. The two sites south are right in the middle of judicial complexes, buildings, mid-rise, high-rise, and there's more appropriate land use in that area. And I think you should consider the sites south of the river for the courthouse. It's inappropriate to go north of the river in the middle of thousands of residential that are in needs of park, independent of that. If you just look at land use south of the river, either site is more appropriate for your federal building. There's parking garages there. You're not going to build the parking. You're going to have to share parking. The parking garages already exist south of the river. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the names of 3 speakers left. Stephen Peters, Melinda Burke, and Abby Laughlin.
There should be some more after that.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Steve Peters and I'm a resident of Flagler Village of over 10 years. Seeing the growth of the many developments in the downtown area, I strongly oppose the building of the new federal courthouse development. Doing such would infringe upon the city's master plan of having a much needed park and green space located in the city-owned 301 North Andrews Avenue site. I have to say there is a large coalition of neighbors in the community that support the development of the park on that property. And to build a courthouse on that property would do a great disservice to our residents, our ecosystems, wildlife, and community. I'm very passionate about this, so I apologize. As you may be aware, there are many large old-growth trees on that property, some over 100 years old. These trees are vital to cooling the air, shading paved surfaces, improving air and water quality, preventing water runoff and soil erosion, as well as being important for wildlife. Also, in this era of climate change, old-growth trees are increasingly important for their ability to sequester and store carbon. The realization of a new park is essential to our community, and because of this, I respectfully request that the GSA pick an alternative site and respect the city and its residents, who have been on the forefront lines in trying to bring a new park to our beloved downtown neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
In other words, not conform with the land, not destroy it.
Hello, GSA, Melinda Bowker. I am a downtown resident. I'm the current Vice President of New River Landing Condominium, which is a 423-unit building just a block from the 633 proposed site. And I'm also the treasurer of the Downtown Fort Lauderdale Civic Association, which is where site number 2 is in. Main thing I have to say is we have not taken a position on this because the word came to us very quickly. We had trouble telling our constituents about this meeting. So I just wanted to give a few pointers that will help us decide, because you've given us, I think, a March 18 deadline, and we would like to actually get you a proper kind of consideration of what our constituents think. I do want to say that this is a heavily residential area, 633 South Federal Highway. Make no mistake, it looks low-rise, but as some of the other speakers stated, New River Village has almost 1,000 units in it. It's a block away. Villa Tuscany is right there. It's a 17-unit townhouse, and there's a very tall proposed residential building being proposed for right in the middle of that plan. The courthouse garage right now is packed. So if you're planning to use that for any excess traffic, it's not going to work. And the valet of multiple residential buildings also use that garage. So I think if we need more information on basically what's going to happen with the parking situation, what kind of trip generation and traffic does a federal courthouse produce, what's the impact on a beautiful residential neighborhood, to include Rio Vista, when a federal courthouse comes to town? I don't know. Does it improve the market value? Does it decrease the market value? And I think that just on a personal level, speaking for myself, I do have to agree with my friends in Flagler Village. There are areas only about a mile away from where I live. Absolutely, the one-stop shop site should be a park. They've wanted that for years. And then the other thing that has come to my attention is there's other options, I think, out there. One of the other speakers mentioned to me that in New York, they've done workarounds during the period of actually building federal courthouses where they needed office space. They did some creative things and actually rented office space in other areas. So just wanted to let you know that we need more information for us to be able to take a position, and I will be in contact with you. Thank you.
All the words is too vague.
Hi, Abby Laughlin. Thank you for your presentation tonight. I don't know if anyone had the opportunity to watch the afternoon's city conference agenda, but I think you're going to find that we have a very different commission now than we had when you first started your process here. And there was a lot of discussion about the courthouse this afternoon. And we came this close. I mean, there was not a lot of support for building the courthouse on North Andrews Avenue. And at one point, the city manager even said to the commissioners, you know, if you're not interested in having the North Andrews site, you know, let us know now so we can go back to the GSA. They were just about ready to decide that. But the mayor said, well, let's wait and see what the, what the public comments are. But you're just not going to have the same sort of reception that you had before about this site. And the mayor himself said in March of 15, he said that my position is that you don't sell the family jewels to pay the light bill. It would be shameful if we discarded for redevelopment. That is the gem and the jewel of all the properties that we own in Fort Lauderdale. You said that one of the jobs of the GSA is to promote environmental considerations. Well, I would think one of the biggest environmental considerations we have is our need for green space and parks. And for me personally, the thought of classical Corinthian architecture on that site, surrounded by our beautiful new, South Florida modern architecture is quite disturbing. I do believe that the courthouse belongs south of Andrews, and that would be an opportunity for us to grow and develop a transportation network. What we're all trying to put together the downtown. I know people say, well, it's right near the Bright Line, but for a building that's only going to have 50 parking spaces and 17 courtrooms and only going to be used during the day, I mean that's 6 or 7 Bright Line trains that you could easily have a shuttle from South Andrews to anybody who wanted to use a Bright Line for mass transportation. And it would help us, as I said, integrate our transportation network. And finally, I know this is really not the topic of tonight's conversation, but we are all very, very concerned about what's going to happen to the existing federal courthouse building. How is that going to be repurposed? How is that going to be used? We don't want a large blighted property. We're interested in finding out what your thoughts are on adaptive reuse for that property. Thank you.
I have to agree with her on that comment. I see keep the courthouse there.
Tim Powers and Sean Williams.
Hi, my name is Tim Powers. I am a resident of Flagler Village at the Avenue Lofts, which is one block away from the proposed site of 301 North Andrews. I am also a real estate agent for 25 years here in Fort Lauderdale, and I've seen the growth and changes going along. Flagler Village is an area that is really the hottest neighborhood going on in downtown Fort Lauderdale, or in Fort Lauderdale. There's so many things proposed and planned, and most of it being residential. This park it's one of the most important pieces of land in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And it seems that it's probably easier to pluck a 3-acre property that's owned by a city than it is to assemble land from private owners. I agree with the people south of the river. I think traffic is a nightmare going over a bridge or going through the tunnel. If you just get your beach chair and sit there during rush hour, you will see exactly what they're talking about. There's a lot of underutilized land in this city. If you went 3 or 4 blocks to the west, into the Sistrunk area, across from the existing post office, there is massive assemblages of land just sitting there that are privately owned. And you could even take that post office and dump it because it's underutilized and horrible. And that's already owned by the federal government, by the way. I'd be happy to take any and all of you in my car tomorrow and show you what I'm talking about. There's massive pieces of land there, and as Abby mentioned, you could shuttle them. Brightline is a private train that is very expensive. It is not for the average citizen who's going to be taking it from Miami or West Palm Beach at this point. The bus station, our bus station is a nightmare. It is one of the scariest places on the planet. It is not for someone going to the federal courthouse to go and have a case tried against them. They're not taking the bus. So I just think that this is the most important piece of land that the city privately owns, or publicly owns, and I think that taking away one of our most valuable assets, which is irreplaceable, absolutely irreplaceable. And I'd be happy to, again, take you around and show you that those people south of the river are absolutely right. The people supporting the park, I think you need to scrap what you talked about and start over. Thank you.
Can't argue about that.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Williams, and I run the Urban Planner blog about the city of Fort Lauderdale. I've been doing that for 8 years. Thanks for the shout. I just want to say, 7 years ago, I met Dylan Lockie, and I actually live in the Soho Bend neighborhood, which is just west of downtown. We have a couple of parks here and there, but Mr. Dillon brought me into the Civic Association. I was originally on the Transportation and Safety Committee, but I was also on the RNX Park Committee. And by the way, I made all the t-shirts. So if you guys would like to have a t-shirt, I can have these. You can earn one for you. So this is my design. I worked very hard on it. I'm very dedicated to making the city a better place. I do this all out because I have a passion and a heart and a love for Fort Lauderdale. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Sometimes I wonder why I do things, but I'm really trying to bring people together. I'm trying to get people involved and engaged. Be in the know as we grow is my slogan, and this is something that's very near and dear to me. And I know there's some other agencies within the city that are trying to promote walkability and multimodal. We have people here from Cadence representing the Mockingbird Trail. We have big things happening with the Lauder Trail, which is actually going to go along the FEC Greenway. And the one-stop shop for the property at 301 North Andrews Avenue is an essential part for our community, especially with all the growth that we've been experiencing. I've been selling the neighborhood for a while, and I feel really bad if you guys didn't do this because we've been hoping and waiting and been put off. It's our time. We're standing our ground and want this as our park. Thank you.
That's all the names that I have that signed up to speak. Is there anyone else who didn't sign up that would like to? Please come to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Mauricio Villa. I'm an architect that works here in Fort Lauderdale. Our office is Design Studios in downtown, and we've been very attentive of the process. I don't know if this is the right scenario for what I'm going to say, because I know that there's a lot of decisions yet to be made about the site, which I consider is going to be very difficult for you, given what we just heard. But anyway, regardless, after you decide what site is going to be, we wanted to make sure that, to let you know that there is a possibility of doing a great building here, again, as the one that we have today, the existing courthouse. Is an excellent example of architecture, that it's an exercise of good public building that is basically a beautiful example of what we can do in Fort Lauderdale. So don't let this second opportunity pass without having a competition and not bringing any extraordinary example of neoclassical architecture to do the new building. There's a possibility of doing a competition. There's a lot of talent in Fort Lauderdale that could be used for that purpose. A private competition or a public competition, so that every architect that lives in Fort Lauderdale that feels and loves it, like people here love it, can express themselves. That's the first idea that I want to leave today. The second is that the existing building could be a very nicely public park. We are in need of a park, as you can see. Everybody needs of a park, but this second building, this federal building that we have today, this core building that we have today, could be because of the architecture it has, and if you use all the terraces and all the levels that it has as a public park that could be completely green, it will be a better example, furthermore, about what we can do for Lauderdale.
Yes.
Thank you.
Love that.
Hi,
Good evening. My name is Lorena O'Neill, and I didn't plan on speaking today, but I feel like it's my obligation as a city resident. I live on Southeast 6th Street. I've been an attorney for 35 years. I've also been a CEO of an international company for 15. I've traveled all over the world. I've been many places. I've seen many places. I'm very proud of Fort Lauderdale. And I understand you guys have put a lot of work into this, but there's still a lot of work to be done. We do need that park. I agree with the people that don't want your courthouse on that park property. But being south of the river, we had to work very hard to develop this area the way it needed to be developed, considering that we had the courthouse and the jail and other such properties in the area. Recently, we had to address with the city commission a piece of property that is just north of where you guys want to put this courthouse. And another woman spoke of it. The only way to get to this property, that when you're coming north on Federal Highway, is to make a left on 7th Street, which is a little teeny light, okay, which is the entrance to the Rio Vista neighborhood, or to keep going straight and make a U-turn around the top of the tunnel, which an emergency vehicle cannot make. So if you're expecting any emergencies to happen at the federal courthouse, this is probably not the area for you. We actually had to stop a development that was going in there because it is on the top of the tunnel, and the only way to get to that piece of property is to travel through the Rio Vista neighborhood, which is the oldest neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. We're not the up-and-coming neighborhood, we're the old guys. Now, it would behoove you, and we were instrumental in getting the Sun Sentinel out there to review this tunnel top property that you would have to travel through to get to the federal courthouse. And we got the city commission out there. They said, you're right, there's no access here. So this is something that it would greatly behoove you to spend time over there. Now, I went out there at 3:45 today, and I was out there at 5 o'clock today, and my husband so graciously drove me over here at 5:30. It took me 25 minutes to get 0.3 miles from here at rush hour to get here at 5:30.
That's fast.
He wasn't real happy with me, right? So I'm also a mom of 3 kids. I grew up in that neighborhood, and there's all kinds of children in that neighborhood. Right now, we don't have EMS and emergency services that can get there in under 15 or 20 minutes. So if there are, again, any emergencies in your courthouse, it's probably not the spot for you. The other spot, the spot over off of Southwest First, it's difficult to get to also. There's a drawbridge there. There's the jail that lets out, all the emergency vehicles come through the jail there. All 3 of these spots, I don't know who led you along this path, and I apologize for it. They're not great spots. So I would behoove you to go back to the drawing board. We need that park. The 2 areas south of the river, you're not going to be able to get to. And I can also tell you that every morning when I go along my walk along the river walk that goes by the courthouse with my dog, I notice all the attorneys who are going to the state courthouse, and I always walk to the courthouse, but all the attorneys that are going to the state courthouse, they don't want to pay for parking, or maybe there's no place to park, but they park throughout our neighborhood, in our yards, on our lawns, and things like that. So that's also something to consider. If there's no parking, people can't come to the courthouse. So I would behoove you to go back to the drawing board, figure out some wonderful spots here in Fort Lauderdale, and we wonderfully welcome your courthouse. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Sanderdash, and I see you're asking for any affiliation I have, and I don't really have any official affiliation, unlike any other people who are involved in this decision-making process. I've simply been a Fort Lauderdale resident for over 25 years. I've raised my children here, and my husband works here in town. And I've think the point of this meeting and a lot of other meetings, from my perspective, I'm not anti-business, I'm not anti-development, but when the residents are steamrolled constantly by business and developers and government, and as residents who live here, who work here, who more importantly volunteer here, what happens to a community if the residents leave? You need local people to stay here, to be invested. We need to be part of your team. So our experience living here, when we can't get from South Federal Highway to North Federal Highway in less than half an hour just to go about our daily living, that's infringing on our quality of life to a degree that it becomes unlivable. And when you have people who we keep adding residents, we keep adding developments and businesses, but they don't even have a park, they don't have open space, they don't have green space, I just need you to think about the residents, the businesses, and the government. We have to be a team, and it can't be all one or the other. And we need to come together and find a solution so that for those of us who live here, we want to stay here, we want to stay involved, we want to make it better. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Long time, lots of you. And my name is Robert Larson, and I was a resident of Flagler Village for 23 years. Dylan started the effort for the next park. I took over for several years, and now Michelle is being the one carrying the torch. So, not really to say that we don't want to get rid of that spot, but what I heard tonight was rather interesting, is that there is a post office that's over on 7th Avenue, which is on a 3-acre block, and they're using I mean, there's a massive, massive parking lot that's not used, so I don't know if you're allowed to cohabitate with another federal agency. Or relocate the post office. I mean, it's just 4 walls. And it's a nice post office. It's a great post office. But, just because we think it's sexier to have this thing downtown, I think everybody, 7th Avenue is going through a major redevelopment with all kinds of renovations to the avenue, and that's also in the northwest, which is the next growing developing area in Fort Lauderdale, and it's an opportunity zone, so you all can get some good tax breaks. Please consider scrapping the 3 sites that we're looking at, and just look maybe just outside the city center. There's a great spot right there on 4th Street and northwest 7th Avenue. Okay.
Do we have any more speakers? You can ask questions, but they'll just be written into the record and we'll address them in the environmental assessment. We're not really in a position to answer questions right now. If you want to come to the microphone, I'll agree.
Have you looked at that post office site?
No. If you signed up and indicated you're interested in being on the mailing list, as far as the environmental assessment, then you'll get an email with a link. And if you didn't do that and you want to, you can send the information to Ash and he can add you.
And that will also, if there's any other additional public meeting or anything like that, we'll be notified.
Yes.
Sign up.
I'm sorry, I spoke before, but there's one other point I would like to make. Marvin Strowitz, within the Los Angeles development. Having come from New York, where we have old buildings, old courthouses, which need to be rehabilitated, New York City and New York State have, during times of rehabilitation of their old buildings, moved courthouses and staff into nearby commercial buildings for the period of the renovation. Now, we've got tens of thousands of square feet of new commercial space that's being built and will come online shortly here in downtown Fort Lauderdale, which will give you the opportunity, if the numbers work out, that you can vacate the current courthouse, move what you need into rented space for the 3 or 4 years it would take, and then use the existing property to demolish the current building
This concludes the public meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your participation.
It sounds like they weren't too thrilled with some of the comments that were made. However, like I said before, have it the same location, 299 East Broward Boulevard, because the locations they wanted originally will be congested, one big cluster. 10-pound cement in a 5-pound bag project, and I say that in good faith. So a lot of people here that participated, I can't really disagree with them. Just some of them I have my differences, but it's just minor. But overall, they're not so satisfied on these locations, and I have to say, in good faith, they are absolutely correct. So I guess that'll be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please feel free to send your correspondence with Decorum. In addition, I'll see if I get any information on this ordeal and post it on my speaker page. All right, my friends, once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.